بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله قال دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الله فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغتيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغتيته به وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وسمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وسمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء فقال عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شفيع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن أمير رسول الله فقلت لديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله يتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسي وخليفتي وصاحب لي وأخي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا عبداه يا رسول الله أتأذنوا لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدعتي كن أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء، فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخاض أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إنا هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرم لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن أعداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلوها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لا أكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لا أجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذنوا لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لا عبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي لا أبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لي جلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبر هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلا أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفزا شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. وقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرون هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله هما ولا محموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجات إلا وقضى الله حاجاته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسئدوا في الدنيا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسئدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Mosil on 3, yeah?
صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Please can we recite Surah Fatiha for all marhumin, especially for Sayyid Iftikhar Hussain Abdi, Sayyida Tahira Rafat Mirza, Ali Mazhar Mirza, Sayyid Latif Hassan Abdi, Sayyida Narjis Khatun, Sayyida Fatima Uzma, Sayyid Haider Mehdi, Abdul Rashid Khan, Zahida Rashid Khan, Sadiq Ali Mirza, Sayyid Iftikhar Hussain Abdi, Sayyid Abbas Hussain, Hamid Ali Mirza, Azhar Ali Mirza, Haider Ali Mirza, Noor Auntie, Sayyida Zahra Rizvi, Sayyid Mustafa Abbas Rizvi, and all marhumin mu'minat. اے روزدارو بکا کے یہ روز ہے، سعادات پر نزول و بلا کے یہ روز ہے، سرداج و سیاہ کی عزا کے یہ روز ہے، تم سے بدائے شیر خدا کے یہ روز ہے، تم سے بدائے شیر خدا کے یہ روز ہے، زخمی ہوا امام تمہارا نماز میں، ظالم نے روزے دار کو مارا نماز میں، ظالم نے روزے دار کو مارا نماز میں، ماہ مبارک رمضان خدا کا گھر، تڑکا نور کا و شب قدر کی سحر، پیش خدا و سجدے میں شیر خدا کا سر، اور ہائے تیغ ظلم کی ضربت و فرق پر، اور ہائے تیغ ظلم کی ضربت و فرق پر، فوار خون کے زخم جبیں سے بہا کیے، سجدے میں آپ ربی الاعلیٰ کہاں کیے، سجدے میں آپ ربی الاعلیٰ کہاں کیے، سر پیٹو مومنو سرے حیدر ہوا دونیم ایمان کے برج کا مانور ہوا دونیم سوچو تو فرق شاہ کا کیوں کر ہوا دونیم لکھا ہے مغز تخسر ہتر ہوا دونیم لکھا ہے مغز تخسر ہتر ہوا دونیم زہرا نے بال کھولے نبی ننگے سر ہوئے تم بے امام اور حسن بے پدر ہو تم بے امام اور حسن بے پدر ہوئے لکھا ہے جب دونیم ہوا فرق مرتضیٰ سدرے سے جبرائیل کے رونے کا غل اٹھا پھینکی سروں سے زینب و کلثوم نے ردا چلا کے بھائیوں کو پکاری غضب ہوا چلا کے بھائیوں کو پکاری غضب ہوا سنتے ہو جبرائیل نے اس وقت کیا کہا وہ بولے پیٹ کر قتل مرتضیٰ کا وہ بولے پیٹ کر قتل مرتضیٰ کہا دوڑے یہ کہہ کے جانب مسجد و نیکزاد ڈوبی ہوئی لہو میں مل کشتی نجات ماتھے پہ خون باپ کا مل کر کہی یہ بات ہائے ہائے اٹھایا قبلہ کا باپ کس نے ہائے ہائے اٹھایا قبلہ کا باپ کس نے رلوایا نانا جان کو دار السلام میں بن باپ کا کیا ہمیں ماہ سیام بن باپ کا کیا ہمیں ماہ سیام میں ناگاہ نمازیوں کا گرایا ننگے سر حیدر نے مشتبہ سے کہا آنکھیں کھول کر پڑھوا تم نماز جماعت کی ہے پسر ہم بیٹھے بیٹھے پڑھتے ہیں اپنے مقام پر ہم بیٹھے بیٹھے پڑھتے ہیں اپنے مقام پر لیکن جبھی کے زخم پہ رومال باندھو میرا سر شگافتہ ہے لال باندھو میرا سر شگافتہ ہے لال باندھو باندھا حسن زخم سر شاہ ذوالجلال بولے علی کے اور کسو درد ہے کمال شبر نے جب کسا تو کیا پھر وہی مخال پھر چست بان کر یہ پکارا وہ خشک سال پھر چست بان کر یہ پکارا وہ خشک سال اب درد کیسا ہے اسد ذوالجلال ہے ہاتھوں سے سر پکڑ کے کہا وہی حال ہے ہاتھوں سے سر پکڑ کے کہا وہی حال ہے پرواہ کے پھر نماز جماعت کی مشتبہ بابا کے سر پکڑنے لگے آئے شفا شفا ناگہاں کے یہ کسی عورت نے دین دا زہرا کے پیار تم سے یہ زینب نے کہا زہرا کے پیار تم سے یہ زینب نے کہا بابا کو میرے جلد جو گھر میں نہ لاؤ گے تو سربرہنا مجھ کو بھی مسجد میں پاؤ گے تو سربرہنا مجھ کو بھی مسجد میں پاؤ گے بولے علی حواس ابھی سے بجا نہیں زینب سے کہہ دو کوفہ ہے یہ کربلا نہیں. میں بے دیاروں بے کسوں بے آشنا نہیں. شیعہ ہے گرد نرغیل جفا نہیں. شیعہ ہے گرد نرغیل جفا نہیں. پردے سے ننگے سر تو ابھی کیوں نکلتی ہے. کیا حلق پر حسین کے تلوار چلتی. کیا حلق پر حسین کے تلوار چلتی ہے. ام البنی کو پایا جو صدمے میں مبتلا. باہیں گلے میں ڈال کے عباس نے کہا اے اماں صدقہ دینے سے رد ہوتی ہے بلا. بھائی حسن حسین زہرا کی دلربا. بھائی حسن حسین زہرا کی دلربا. روشن کرو جہاں میں تم اپنے نام کو. صدقہ اتارو شاہ نجف پر غلام کو. صدقہ اتارو شاہ نجف پر غلام کو. بولے لی تو ہوش میں اے نوحہ گھر نہیں. عباس کے وقار کی تجھ کو خبر نہیں. یہ فاطمہ کا بیٹا ہے تیرا پسر نہیں. شبی کے لیے کوئی ایسی سپر نہیں. شبی کے لیے کوئی ایسی سپر نہیں. زہرا سے رتبہ پوچھئے اس نورین کا. یہ کربلا میں ہوئے گا فدیہ حسین. یہ کربلا میں ہوئے گا فدیہ حسین. یہ کربلا میں ہوئے گا فدیہ حسین کا. صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد.
صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. He said, O my Lord, open for me my chest and ease my task for me, and loosen the knot from my tongue that they understand my speech. Surah Taha. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today I would like to talk about Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, because we are known as the Shia Ithna Ashari, or the Ja'fari sect. But many of us as Muslims and Shias overlook Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam and do not give him the attention that he deserves in comparison to other Imams. So, why are we named the Ja'fari sect? Do we know enough about who we are named after? No, I don't think we don't. So that's why I'm going to focus my speech on Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam today. So without further ado, I shall begin. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam was born on the 17th of Rabi' al-Awwal, on the 80th year after Hijrah. He died on the 25th year of Shawwal, 48 years after Hijrah. He was 63 when he died, and he was Imam for 32 years. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam was known for his amazing memory. He was a master of philosophy and law. He was a master of knowledge and wisdom, and master of all Islamic scholars of his time. And of course, like his name, he was truthful and honest, as Sadiq. He is a pivotal pillar in our knowledge of Islam, because without him, we wouldn't be able to justify our religion. We would only be able to justify our religion with faith. But with the knowledge that he has bestowed upon us, we can justify our religion with wisdom and philosophy instead of just faith to our brothers in Christianity and Judaism and even in Islam. Before I start, I'd like to say that all our Imams are equal and they all play different roles. For example, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he had to protect Islam by fighting in Karbala Imam Hussain al-Askari alayhi salam had to protect the 12th Imam, and Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam was the only one who was given the chance to spread his knowledge as freely as in comparison to all the other Imams. Therefore, one Imam isn't better than the other. However, we celebrate or mourn some Imams more than we do the others. For example, Imam Hussain, we mourn him much more than we do for Imam Ja'far Sadiq, or we know much more about the life of Imam Hussain than we do of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. So, also I wanted to say that we shouldn't be the only school of Islam that should be able to learn from Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's teachings. It should also be other schools, because Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's mother, Farwa, is the daughter of Qasim, son of Mohamed, son of Abu Bakr. And his grandfather is obviously the Holy Prophet. So all of the sects in Islam should be able to share the knowledge that Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam has given us to help nurture themselves in Islam and reach enlightenment. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, as I said before, is overlooked many times by Muslims in particular. In many cases, people only remember his students. For example, when I'm going to read these names, I'm sure you'll all remember these people. Abu Hanifa or Malik ibn Anas or Ahmad bin Hanbal. All of these people, no one really knows, but they were all students of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. 31% of the whole Muslim population follow Abu Hanifa for fiqh. But if it weren't for Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, Abu Hanifa would not be able to preach how he did and would not be able to learn how much he did because of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. Abu Hanifa himself said, "I have not seen anyone more knowledgeable than Ja'far, son of Muhammad." So all of the students of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, they all praise him whenever they teach, just before they teach, but their followers, like the followers of Abu Hanifa and Malik ibn Anas, they don't realize this and they just follow the Abu Hanifa or Malik ibn Anas. Malik, head of Maliki school of thought, said, "I used to frequently visit Ja'far, son of Muhammad. For a while, indeed, I did not see him except in one of these three conditions, either praying, fasting, or reciting Quran. I never saw him narrating on behalf of God's messenger except in a state of ritual purity. He did not speak of that which did not concern him. No eye had seen, nor ear had heard, and no heart of mankind and thought of someone more virtuous than Ja'far, son of Muhammad, in knowledge, worship, and piety." Unfortunately, it is not spread that the teacher of all of these amazing students and philosophers and scientists and biologists, that all of their teachers were our Imam. And it is our duty to publicize this to everyone and make it known that Imam Ja'far Sadiq was the source of this amazing knowledge. Therefore, today, my aim is to bring Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam to the lofty status that he deserves. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum.
So many of us don't know this because, as I said before, many of us look over Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's life, but he was born, as I said before, on the same date as Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, on the 17th of Rabiul Awwal. But when we celebrate this day, Prophet Muhammad's Wiladat, we don't remember Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, and normally the lectures are more focused on Prophet Muhammad, although they should be, but some of us should also think about Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam and celebrate his birth as well. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's love for knowledge first started with his grandfather, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, and he was his first teacher for the first 15 years of his life before Imam Zain al-Abidin died. So the first 15 years of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's life was dedicated to Imam Zain al-Abidin, and both of them used to learn together, and Imam Zain al-Abidin used to share his knowledge with Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, which allowed Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam to later on in his life be the wise philosopher in his community and argue with the oppressors of his time. During the time that he was being taught by Imam Zain al-Abidin, he saw Imam Zain al-Abidin write Sahifa Sajjadiyah and Risalat al-Huquq. One chapter from Risalat al-Hukuk really helped Imam Jafar Sadiq nurture his love for teaching others and having his own students in the future. This chapter is all about the rights of a teacher, and this is what Imam Jafar Sadiq also talks about himself when he opens his madrasa and his school later on in his life. So, as I said before, the first 15 years of his life, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was taught by Imam Zain al-Abidin. But the first 11 years of his life was shared between Imam Zain al-Abidin and Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Imam Baqir used to teach him philosophy, maths, mathematics, science, law, ethics, all of these things that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was able to learn in the first 11 years of his life. These amount of things are hardly learned by people who are 50 years old rather than people that are just 11 years old. So this is the early stage of his life, and you can see that all of this knowledge he is able to learn in such a short space of time. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
So during the life of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, certainly towards the beginning of the life of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, there was a struggle of power in the Umayyad government of the time. So Bani Umayyah were running at the time, and the people of the villages used to start to get frustrated of the Umayyad government because they were all hypocrites. They would be the caliphates of Islam, the representatives of Islam, but their actions were not representing that at all. Bani Umayyah also would never ever let any of the sons of Bibi Fatima alayhi salam, so Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam in this case, and Imam Baqir, to openly spread knowledge. The only way Imam Baqir alayhi salam was able to spread his knowledge was with the aids of Umar bin Abdul Aziz, who also stopped the cursing of Imam alayhi salam. He was a Umayyad, one of the from the Bani Umayyad tribe, and he was turning against Bani Umayyad from the inside of the headquarters. So, as I said before, people were beginning to get sick of the Umayyad government and their hypocrisy for the following reasons that I've noted down. They never practiced religion that they are the caliphate of. Some lived a lavish un-Islamic life. I'll give examples of that. So, one example is Walid ibn Abdul Malik used to get intoxicated and have unlawful relationship with a woman, and on occasion he made her lead the prayers whilst she was intoxicated. So not only is this an insult to Islam, but this is an insult to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam and to the people who already started to get frustrated with the government that they were with. The second Yazid is another example of the hypocrisy. The second Yazid of the Bani Umayyad government decided to get a swimming pool in his palace, but he didn't want a normal swimming pool. He wanted to fill it with alcohol so that he could always be drinking alcohol. Now, this is obviously a stark contrast to the Ummah, and this shows what state the Ummah was in. So this is where the start of the revolution against Bani Umayyah started, and it was fueled even further when they killed Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's uncle, Zayd. So in Yemen, still now, there are some Zaydi followers, and they follow the Imams up until Imam Zain al-Abidin, and then they follow Zayd. So Zayd went to confront Hisham bin Malik, who was the current caliph of the Bani Umayyad government. And he went to the palace, and next to Hisham was a Christian poet. And the Christian poet's name was Akbal. And he was sitting there and he was cursing the Prophet, and Hisham had nothing to say about it. This obviously shows that he didn't care about Islam, and he didn't mind that someone was cursing the founder and beginning of his religion. So Zayd subsequently stood up to him and got angry with him, and Hisham threatened to kill him. This is when Zayd returned to his home and gathered an army against the Bani Umayyad government and decided to go to war with them. Zayd got his followers and they went to war, and the Bani Umayyad defeated Zayd. Bani Umayyah defeated Zayd, but obviously after this huge war, Bani Umayyah were in an extremely weak position. Therefore, the few followers that were left of Zayd collected themselves with the Bani Abbas tribe, and they went to overthrow the government. And they were able to do this because the government was so weak after they had just endured such a huge battle against Zayd's followers. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
So after 80 years of the reign of Bani Umayyah, Bani Abbas was able to Zayd was able to bring down the Bani Umayyah government and lead them into a series of events that led to their downfall, their ultimate downfall. So the Bani Umayyah caught Zayd and hung his body and let him die, and then they burnt his body and threw his ashes into the rivers of Iraq. This was to show any of other Zayd's followers to never ever threaten Bani Umayyah government again. However, of course, with the Bani Abbas tribe and combined with the Bani Umayyah tribe, this was a huge army that was easily able to defeat Bani Umayyah. So, Bani Abbas is a very controversial tribe because they tried to use the name of Al-Muhammad and Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam to fuel their revolution and use their names to gain supporters. So there were multiple letters from Bani Abbas, and of Bani Abbas's leaders were the cousins of Imam Jafar Sadiq. So there were multiple letters from Bani Abbas to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam saying that he should support their movement and he should be the leader of their movement so that when they become in government, he can lead them as a high member of the family of Al-Muhammad. So when the letters started to arrive to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam Jafar Sadiq burnt each one of them and told his companions that they should never ever follow Bani Abbas, because this tribe was just there to overthrow the government and become their own government in their own selfish ways, and would never ever pay the Muslim people what they needed to be paid or treat them equally. So they were equally as bad as Bani Umayyah. So later on, a few years after, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, his words were being proven right. And Mansur, who was the caliph from Bani Abbas tribe at the time, was not helping Muslim and was very corrupt. He was very stingy caliph, and he would never give any money to his people. And the only time he would give money was if his people would come and read a poem that was never read by anyone before. And the only money he would give them was the weight of the paper that they wrote the poem on. That was the tiniest amount that he gave them. So because Mansur started to see that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was gaining many supporters and followers, he decided to send Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam to Kufa, where his supporters wouldn't follow him and his revolution would be extinguished. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
This was the biggest mistake that Mansur made, because when Imam Jafar Sadiq went to Kufa, this was obviously the place where Imam Ali was governor and where he taught, and the passion for Ahlul Bayt had decreased over time. So Imam Jafar Sadiq, when he returned there, he was the first one to preach like Imam Ali alayhi salam, to act like Imam Ali alayhi salam, and to spread the word of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So he was the first one after many years to do that, and of course this reignited the passion that the people in Kufa had for the Ahlul Bayt and for Imam Ali alayhi salam. From this we can see that the main role that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam played was that he wanted to make the people fall back in love with Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he wanted to spread the knowledge of Islam alayhi salam, of Islam, and this was the time he was able to do it in comparison to other Imams. So a few things that Imam Jafar Sadiq would always practice, and what he said to his students was that love for others what you love for yourself. Oppose the oppressor and support the oppressed. We, the Ahlul Bayt, do not take back that which we have given. And he also said that people should always, when you're a teacher, should always practice what you preach. Which is exactly what he did. This is an example of how he was practicing what he preached to his students. One day, he entered a mosque and there was a man doing his namaz. And this man had a pot of coins next to him, a bag of coins, 1,000 coins next to him. And Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq was the only one in the mosque. And this man was reading his namaz. And when he finished his namaz, he looked around next to him and his bag of coins was not there. He turned around to see if there was anyone in the room. And there was Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam standing at the door. And he said, "You stole my coins." And Imam Sadiq, being the honest one, said no. However, this man continued to oppress Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and saying that, "You stole my coins, you're the only one in this mosque." Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, "I did not steal your coins, but I will still pay you back out of my own pocket since you lost your coins," because of his selflessness and his compassion. So the man said, "Okay," and he took the money and he left. When he was leaving the mosque, outside the mosque and the entrance, there was his bag of coins. And he said, he thought to himself, what a fool he had been. Then he ran back to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and on his way he saw one of the Imam's companions and asked him, "Who is that man in the mosque?" One of his companions said, "He is as-Sadiq, the honest one." And the man ran back to Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, begging for his forgiveness. And the Imam said, "I will not take back my money because we the Ahlul Bayt do not take back that which we have given." So this is a great example of how Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam practices always what he preaches. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
As I said before, as I mentioned before, one of the Imam's students was the great Hisham bin Hakam. He would debate atheists through Imam Sadiq alayhi salam's advice and through his teaching. Many times he would talk to these atheists and he would go back to Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam and he would ask the questions the atheists ask and go back to the atheist and further help nurture his knowledge and nurture the atheist knowledge in the belief of God. So one day an atheist came to Hisham and said, "Can your God do anything? You believe your God can do anything?" And Hisham said, "Yes, our God can do anything." The man said, "Then why can't your God put the universe in an egg without changing the size of the universe, without decreasing the size of the universe or increasing the size of the egg?" Hisham was puzzled and he said, "I will get back to you." Hisham went to Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's house and he asked him the question. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam said, "Go to the top of the building, Hisham." Hisham went to the top of the building and he looked out and he said, "I see trees, I see buildings, I see people from far away, I see mountains, I see the sun, I see many things." He came back downstairs to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and the Imam asked him, "What did you see?" And he said, "I saw trees and mountains and people and houses." The Imam said, "Tell me what your 5 senses are." Hisham said, "The 5 senses." Then Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, "What is your smallest sense, the one with the smallest range or physically the smallest?" Hisham said, "My eyes are the smallest." And Imam Sadiq said, if Allah can fit all of those things in the visibility of your eye, you think He cannot fit the whole universe in an egg? Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Subhanallah.
Another day, another atheist asked the Imam to show him God. The Imam said, "Yeah, that's an easy question. I'll show him." And he said, "Turn around and face the sun." The man faced the sun and in 5 seconds he turned his face and he said, "I cannot see anymore because it's making me blind. It's giving me a headache." And Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam said, "If you cannot see the created, how will you bear to see the creator?" Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Lastly, the last example of how Hisham used to respond to the atheists with the help of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam was that one atheist said he was God because Muslims believe that God can create and God is a creator. And the man said, "If you give me enough clay or cement and if you give me enough compost and you give me the right temperature in the right place, I can create a worm." And Imam said, okay, create the worm. He created the worm. Then Imam said, let me ask you 3 questions. Can I ask you 3 questions? And he said, of course. The Imam said, tell me what the gender of each of these worms are. And the man said, I don't know. The second question Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam asked, tell me the weight of the specific weight of every single worm that you have there. And the man said, I don't know. He was puzzled. And the last question Imam Sadiq alayhi salam asked him was, if you are their creator, you can order them to go into a different direction, make them move left or right. And the man said, I cannot do that. And the man couldn't answer any of the questions. And through Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he realized and believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
So, in conclusion, I would like to talk about how Imam Jafar Sadiq, the links between Imam Jafar Sadiq and Imam Ali alayhi salam. Read another salawat, please.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Okay, thank you. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was a teacher when he was always a teacher, not just in the classroom, but when he used to go out and greet people, when he used to go for a walk, when he used to go to the shops, he would always present himself in a very polite way and always show the fiqh of Islam and show how polite he was and how compassionate he was to people. Therefore, he was being a preacher of Islam, not just in his classroom to his students, but to all the public and to everyone, to show them how Islam is and what Islam teaches us. And this is exactly what we should be doing in our everyday life, just like Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam did, to help spread the word of Islam. He was one of the greatest advocates and ambassadors for Islam, and we can be great advocates and ambassadors for Islam by doing this too. He could have fought against the government, but the progress he achieved when preaching was much better than the progress he would have achieved if he spent his whole life trying to overthrow the government, and he wouldn't be able to spread the religion of Islam, but would only be looking for power. That's all. So one of his companions asked him, why didn't he overthrow the government? Why can't we overthrow the government? You have many followers, you have many supporters. We can easily overthrow the government. But Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said, none of my supporters or followers are loyal enough. Only 10 of them are maybe loyal enough, then I need them to be. Many of us know the story I'm about to tell, but I will tell it anyway. The companion said to him, I am very loyal to you. Tell me whatever you want me to do. And Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said, go into that fire there where they bake the bread. And Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said, and the companion said, I can't do that, I will die. But then, walking by was one of the Imam's greatest companions. His name is Harun Makki. He was walking by, and Imam told him the same thing. He said, go into this fire where they bake the bread. And Harun went straight into the fire. He came back, and he was fine. And Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said, this is the loyalty that I'm looking for. And the man was left speechless because he would never do what the Imam asked him to do. The main aim, as I mentioned a few times before, throughout the life of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was to make people fall in love with Imam Ali and with Ahlul Bayt and with Islam, so that he could spread the knowledge as much as he could that he had, and spread Islam as much as he could, and therefore convert as many people as he could with his own knowledge and his wisdom, because they were so shocked at his wisdom and knowledge. Before he died, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam's last words, things that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said, was to perform his ziyarat, and he will ask for all of our sins to be forgiven. He will ask Allah intercession for all of our sins to be forgiven. And then he will ask us to never leave us in a state of poverty when we are dying. On his deathbed, Imam al-Sadiq reminded his followers of an essential duty. See, on his deathbed, he was still talking about the religion, the fiqh of Islam, and he never forgot about that throughout his life, just like his grandfather Imam Ali alayhi salam. The sixth Imam opened his eyes and looked into the faces of those around him, saying, "Indeed, our intercession does not extend to one who takes the prayers lightly." With these words, Imam al-Sadiq emphasized the significance of prayer and its relation to the intercession of divine mercy. So he would not be able to intercede for those who didn't pray properly or didn't do their namaz properly. And this was all on his deathbed, when he was lying on his deathbed. The sixth Holy Imam was buried in the Baqi cemetery of Medina, and so even in his last moments cared about the Shias and followers, just like his grandfather Imam Ali alayhi salam. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
So these same qualities that we see in Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he learned from his father and his grandfathers, Imam Ali. And when Imam Ali was going for Fajr namaz on the 19th of Ramadan, on the first rakat in Sajda, he got struck on the head with a poisoned sword. Imam Ali called out, "Fuztu bi Rabbil Kaaba, by the Lord of the Kaaba, I am successful." Imam Ali died 2 days later on the 21st of Ramadan. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain carried the body of Imam Ali to the graveyard with 2 angels helping them. When the Imams were returning, they saw an old poor man crying. They asked him why. He replied, "Because every night a man used to come and feed me and give me food. But these past 3 nights no one has been coming and feeding me." Imam Hassan and Hussain then told him that was their father. The old man asked where he had gone. They started crying and told him that he had now died. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Please join me in reciting with your hands raised Al-Fatiha for Sayyid Iftar Hussain Abadi, Sayyidat Tahir Rafat Mirza, Ali Mazhar Mirza, Sayyid Latif Hassan Abadi, Sayyida Narjis Khatun, Sayyida Fatima Uzma, Sayyid Haidar Mahdi, Abdul Rashid Khan, Zahida Rashid Khan, Sadiq Ali Mirza, Sayyid Vikar Hussain Abadi, Sayyid Abbas Hussain, Hamid Ali Mirza, Azhar Ali Mirza, Haidar Ali Mirza, Noor Aunty, Sayyida Zahra Rizvi, and Sayyida Mustafa Rizvi, and all Marhuin Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. ہر سو ہے آج کیوں بدلی ہوئی فضا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. تاریخ ہے جہاں افسردہ آسماں یہ رات ہے عجیب یہ رات ہے عجیب گھبرا رہا ہے دل کرتی ہوں التجا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. ہے آگ بدر کی یہ انتقام کی سازش ہے شام کی سازش ہے شام کی. ہمت میں بغض کی پھیلی ہے جب ہوا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. مانا بھی اب نہیں اماں بھی چل بسی پردیس میں خیام پردیس میں خیام. ہم سے وطن سے دور کیا ہوگا کیا پتا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. پھر زندگی ستم پہلا اس پہ غم چھوٹا بھی ہے سن چھوٹا بھی ہے سن کیسے اٹھائے گا صدمہ یہ باوفا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. وہ وقت ہے قریب بدلے گا یہ نصیب بابا تمہارے بعد بابا تمہارے بعد کر کے ہمیں اسیر لائیں گے اشکیاں بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. مثل سکینہ کی بیٹی علی کی بھی رو رو کے مر گئی رو رو کے مر گئی. نوحہ ختیجہ کے ہونٹوں پہ بس یہ تھا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. جب گھر اجڑ گیا اور آئے مرتضیٰ شام غریبہ میں شام غریبہ میں زینب کے بین تھے سر سے چنی ردا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. عباس اور حسن رخصت ہوئے علی آفت کی تھی گڑی آفت کی تھی گڑی. کلثوم غش میں ہے زینب نے کی بکا بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. زینب نے دی صدا اللہ کا واسطہ بابا نہ جائیے. حسین 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 یا امام. Bastion Ziyarat.
Yeah. Can we please raise our hands in ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim assalam. Assalamu alayka ya sayyidi wa mawlai ya ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen ya habib Allah ya rasul Allah. السلام عليك يا ولي الله يا أمير المؤمنين
يا سيد الوسيين يا أسد الله يا علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا أبو محمد الحسن بن علي المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي وإمام الحجة المهدي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجا وسهل الله تعالى محرجا وزهورا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. On this night of power, may we raise our arms and recite a dua which is the master of all duas, the wish which is the greatest wish out of all the wishes we may have on these holy nights, being the reappearance of our holy Imam, Imam al-Hujjah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kun li waliyik al-Hujjah ibn al-Hasan. صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Just thank you everyone for attending today. Inshallah, this will be a 3-day event. So we'll have the same time tomorrow, and on Thursday at the same time we'll be reciting Dua Kumail first, and then we'll go straight into the lecture. And inshallah, we plan to finish around this time each day, so you can go on to the other events which of other mosques or the centers for their Laylatul Qadr program. So thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام.